You forgot the first rule of remakes, Jill. Don't fuck with the original.
Hey everybody! Something like 3 weeks ago, Hercules, The Legends Begins came out.
Yeah, sorry, flu season. It's hard to record,
You know what that means?
My flu's gone.
Oh, it means an episode of Don't F with the original.
Oh, that's kind of ambush. I wasn't expecting that. I thought this was just like a welcome back from your flu, Nick thing going on.
No, it's not. It's
Okay.
not. Yeah.
Well, I'm Nicholas, the vegan correspondent for Idiomatic.
And I'm Dimitri, editor-in-chief of Idiomatic.com and movie critic. So, as we promised, we are coming back to Hercules, The Legend Begins. Mostly because, we missed it. You had the flu, and we couldn't record.
And that movie just brought out of nowhere. I think they just moved the release forward as well.
Now, here's the thing. There's a 1958 movie, Hercules, that I wanted to talk about, but then I realized that there's another freaking Hercules movie coming out later this year.
Yeah, those things just seem like to sprout out of nowhere. Like Hercules here, Hercules there. How many Hercules are there next year?
We'll never know. You know what I'd love to see, this year, 2014? Disney doing Hercules 2 direct-to-video. The same year. Just drive us crazy with that shit.
That'd be funny. That'd be pretty funny. I would not watch it because I didn't like the original one, but
who does? It's a terrible movie. But that's not the movie we're going to talk about. What we're going to talk about is, since the 1958 Hercules movies we're going to be saving for this July, we figured, what's the original we're going to talk about? And I was like, what Hercules movie has the word legend in it?
Yeah.
And then you came up right away with
Hercules, The Legendary Journeys.
With Kevin Sorbo.
Kevin Sorbo, exactly. The TV series that lasted, I think, 6 seasons. It began first with a couple of made-for-TV movies. There was Hercules and the Amazon Women, which was terrible. And then Hercules and the Lost Kingdom. Then The Circle of Fire. And then Hercules and the Underworld. And then Hercules and the Maze of the Minotaur. Always Hercules and D, so we're not confused, and stuff like that. And they all came out.
That makes sense, because, you see in a video store, at least all the movies find themselves on the same rack,
That's true.
I mean?
In alphabetical order, it's all in H, so they don't call it something of Hercules. It's like Hercules and, so they're all in alphabetical order. That's pretty clever. I didn't even think of that. All came out in 1 year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think in 94. It was surprising, like all made-for-TV movies, all in 1 year. Like you said, featuring Kevin Sorbo, Michael Hurst, which is his sidekick, Iolaus, and his wife was played by Tawny Kitaen, or people know her more as the chick on the car in the Whitesnake videos. But yeah, those were pretty terrible movies, especially the first one, and the Amazon Women, because the whole action happens, and a bunch of people died, and he's very sad, so he had Zeus bring him back in time, and basically had the adventure not happen.
Oh, so it's a Superman ending.
Pretty much. It makes a point that the Amazons, they're women, so they're treated very poorly, because especially in that time, women were nothing. And
I know, I've seen Hercules 1958.
Yeah, I know. And basically, he tries to solve the whole situation, and basically at the end goes back in time, and when the guy comes and asks for him, he's like, just treat the women nice, and they'll solve your problem. At the end. Oh, that's terrible.
There's a nice satirical element there. That's kind of cute, though.
I guess that they try and go and play like the macho heroes and solve the situation. They make it worse, whereas, it's just be nice, I guess. I guess as a, story itself, it's pretty cool, but when you're watching it on screen and you're like, okay, this last hour and a half didn't happen, and you're like, oh, this is bad.
That's hard to take when you get invested in a story and they tell you, no, that didn't happen. You were fooled. You're like, why did you do this to me, movie?
I know.
I've never lied to you, movie.
I know exactly. It's weird. It's like, why do that? Just continue with the story, especially when characters die. So you feel okay that this story is going somewhere, and there are certain points of no return that have passed with those characters being gone, and no, they're still there. They're back alive. They're like, all right, fine, great. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, there's an element, especially in fantasy fiction, that fans want to be reassured that what they see matters. To such a degree that, there's the concept of filler, in comic books and TV shows, like, oh, that episode was filler. And what they mean by that is that it's an episode that you could remove from the series and it wouldn't affect the larger story arc.
Yeah.
And that means that for them, the story doesn't matter. I don't see it that way. I say, like, well, look, it happened to the character. It's a good story. And if it's a cool adventure, I don't give a fuck.
And you get to know more about the character if it's done properly, you know.
But in the fantasy fans' mind, there's really the idea of, like, everything has to matter. And if something matters less to the main story, then you feel robbed, you know. I just got served filler instead of actual meat, you know.
Yeah.
And I think when you do something where it's like, it didn't happen, or we rewound, well, actually it did happen, but they rewound the clock.
Yeah.
And so it'll never be part of continuity again. People feel like, you just served me a big bowl of filler, you motherfucker.
It's
like,
not even filler. It's like, it's nothing. At least filler, you know, you're full. You know, this is like, you're giving me the food, you took it back. Oh, great. Yeah. Great. You brought it back to the kitchen or something. It's like, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous game to play with fantasy fans.
Yeah. So, apparently those movies were a great success, or maybe they weren't, but, you know, nonetheless, they came out with a syndicated series, 1-hour shows. The main plot is that Hera is very, very angry, because Hercules is the son of God, of Zeus.
He's the son of God. Kevin Sorbo died for your sins.
Yes. She's the son of Zeus, and, you know, she's jealous because she's not his mother. You know, there's this kind of family thing going on, so she wants to kill Hercules. That's one of the main, you know, plots going. There's also Hercules, you know, helping people out. The main thing that happened in season 1 is there was this character that she was an evil warlord named Xena, and Hercules, you know, made her see that she was actually a good person and she shouldn't be, like, you know, mean like that, and she became a nice person, and she got her own series, Xena Warrior Princess. Eventually, they got tired of, I guess, Greek mythology, so they went to explore other mythology, like Norseman mythology, and they went to Ireland as well, where they mentioned one god over there, if I remember correctly.
That's in Hercules?
Yeah, in Hercules. And those were actually pretty fun. It was, you know, a nice change of
why
pace.
not? Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. And, you know, they had, you know, they didn't make up the Norse thing. They had all this stuff about, you know, the Rainbow Bridge and, you know, the book with the Fate and Ragnarok and stuff like that. It was like, yeah, they actually made their research. It was pretty nice. And then the series just ended up with, you know, Hercules and his sidekick deciding, yeah, we should retire. They sit on a rock. And then it's like, this is boring. And then they just go back up and they continue their journey. It was like, okay, that's kind of cute.
Spoiler alert, by the way, if you wanted to buy this on DVD, now you know how it ends. Who cares?
Oh, yeah.
Who cares? Like, who cares, okay?
Seriously.
But I think, like, too many series try to wrap up the story of the hero, and I was like, but it's like, and they forget that, again, as a fantasy fan, I want to remember the hero on his adventure. Like, yeah. You know, there's a reason why the Lonesome Cowboy ends with him traveling towards the sunset, towards his next adventure. That's where you leave off your heroes.
Yeah.
So I like that they're ending this that way.
I know. It was pretty nice. It's just, you know, then it's especially the super cute, then decide to retire and they find the 2 closest rocks and they sit there in the middle of nowhere. Like, yeah, we're retired now. It's like, that was pretty cute.
And yeah, it was always a lighthearted show.
Yeah.
A lot of self-referential episodes, like the one where it's the writer's room of Hercules, the legendary journey, and Ares starts messing with the writers, and then Hercules shows up to help the writers of Hercules. It was like, it's complete nonsense, but it was cute. I liked it.
Because apparently Kevin Sorbo is not Kevin Sorbo. He's actually Hercules posing as an actor that plays him in. You're like, wow, this is pretty crazy.
It was a fun show. Like it's like, obviously they're not taking themselves seriously.
They also had a parallel universe with evil Hercules with a goatee,
that's awesome.
Which I thought was a great touch.
For those of you who don't know, the series was produced by the makers of Evil Dead, Sam Raimi and Tapper, I think, and it retains some of that humor from the Evil Dead sequels, with just this really fast-paced, joking around, sort of slapsticky thing going on. And of course they brought Bruce Campbell to play a recurring character, the Prince of Thieves.
Yeah, Autolycus, Prince of Thieves.
Who was hilarious.
Yes. Especially in his acting, because I don't think Bruce Campbell was taking it very seriously. He was hamming it up like crazy. At least Kevin Sorbo and Michael Hurst were trying to play it a little serious, but he was like, no, he's way out there. And it's like, oh my god, he's awesome there. He's Bruce Campbell, you know, that's what he does.
Yeah, I know. Which is why when I read recently that he was meant to play the Robert Patrick character in X-Files.
Yeah.
to replace Mulder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh god, thank god that didn't happen.
Oh my-
Because, no. That dude would, like, have hemmed his shit up so
It would
bad.
have been entertaining. I'm not sure it would have been good. Let's just say it that way.
Like, if they had put him in The Lone Gunman, I would have watched it. But
Yeah. Yes, that is true. But you weren't a great fan of Kevin Sorbo's acting skills.
Well, I find that Kevin Sorbo has this sort of do-gooder quality about him, where I find he's an actor who's not particularly interested in exploring diverse facets of his character or compromising his image.
Okay.
So that Hercules always came off like the perfect Mickey Mouse type character, which is fine because that's what his character is. So
Yeah.
I'm not bothered by that. But it also meant that you got a lot of the same performance episode through episodes. He wasn't really pushing towards a more compromised version of the character or whatnot. And so for me, it always felt very limited.
Okay. For the TV show he was cast in, I thought he got the job done. Like you said, it was the character. The thing is, though, when there was a problem inherent with the show when they were fighting humans. It's like it's Hercules, like a half god that's practically immortal, that's super strong, and fighting humans. And you can basically see that he was basically kind of like just looping weak punches at them, and the actors had to fly away. It's like some of the fight scenes were not super interesting. When he was fighting gods, like fighting Ares, now they were evenly matched, and he was actually putting the effort into it. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool. But when he's fighting humans, you're like, could you put any less effort into this, please? This is so boring.
So you've followed the whole series because I didn't.
Yeah.
I just caught a few episodes here and there. I was more into Xena, to be
Yes.
honest. Did they have story arcs per season or not really?
Not really. There were certain two-parters, but seasons really no. It was basically the creature of the week, and sometimes you had like, oh, you killed my kid who was that creature. I'm gonna get revenge. So you have to go back and it's like, oh yeah, but nothing really that flowed. It only really started like the season I mentioned when he goes to see different mythologies.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, he has to fight Dayhawk, which was like the big evil god there. It really, I never really explained what mythology he came from. It was just Dayhawk, a really bad god that wanted to destroy everything. And that season was pretty much an arc where, okay, at the beginning he tries to prevent Dayhawk from appearing, but he thinks he succeed, but he failed, and Dayhawk raises in power, and there's trouble there. But that was season 5, and I think that's what the season they wanted to end with.
Okay.
I guess they got asked, can you do another 6th season, and they did like a half season. That one wasn't that good.
Oh, really? Okay.
So since you watched Xena a little more, we can talk about that a little bit. It's a direct spin-off. It has the same character. Hercules shows up there a bunch of times as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's a more fun character because, first of all, she's not perfect.
Yeah, she's a compromised character. Yeah.
Exactly. She's always tempted, even if she's killing the bad guy, she's like, should she...
Well, she's Wolverine.
Yeah.
Essentially, she's Wolverine. She has that inner, like, feral rage in her that could get set off at any moment, but she tries to be an honorable samurai-like warrior, but she doesn't always succeed. She even has her kitty Pride with her, essentially, which is the blonde chick.
Yeah.
They eventually become a couple, mostly because of fan fiction, and they went like, might as well run with it. But
yeah, pretty much. They never really acknowledge it in the show, but they never denied it either. They're like, let people believe what they want to, and it'll be cool.
Well, I mean, in the last seasons, it becomes a bit more clear, but
they're playing with the fans mostly. They never really say, yes, I love you and stuff like that.
clearly it was never a plan. It was like, it's something that happened because perverted little fanboys were like, oh, wouldn't it be fun if they touch each other's boobs?
Yes, it would. Yes, it would.
That's totally what happened. But then they turned it into sort of like a feminist and a gay rights thing, and I think they were like, all right, we'll go with it,
Yeah. Sure, why not?
But yeah, so she's totally Wolverine being my point, and she has her kitty Pride with her, which, again, Wolverine is a really cool, interesting character. So is Xena as a result.
Yeah, that's true. And there was a lot more backstory to her, because she can explain why she was evil, where she came from. She went to Qin, or China for modern people. And, all that backstory of why she was evil. She was working with Rome and, against Caesar. It's so much a more interesting backstory than just Hercules, who's like, he's the son of Zeus. That's all the backstory you need with him, and that's all you get, really. He's the son of Zeus. Hera hates him. She killed his family. That's it. Whereas Xena, you could have so many episodes with her backstory, and they did, and it was very, very fun to see, and see her how she was before and stuff like that. It was very entertaining.
Yeah, and even when they were done exploring that and they moved on to other things and introduced new elements where she was essentially the harbinger of Jesus.
Pretty much.
It sounds super stupid when I say it like that.
And it was.
To some degree it was.
It was.
Yeah. But at the same time, it was entertaining stupid. It wasn't like, oh god, what are you doing? It was like, all right, let me see you kill all the Greek gods so that there can be only one god from in the future. That's what they were going for.
Yeah.
It was like, that should be entertaining. I'm watching that.
I know. I wasn't quite happy with that part though, because they were really moving towards like I don't want to. Some people are gonna get angry. I'm saying this, but moving towards the Christian mythology instead of the Greek one.
They were totally.
Yeah, people hate Christian mythology. It's like, it's not whatever.
But they are using it as a mythology.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like they weren't moving towards pushing Christianity on you.
Yeah.
They were moving on using ideas of angels and devils and all of that.
Basically,
that's mythological elements.
Archangel Gabriel basically giving her the power to kill gods. And I just thought that would make the show not as interesting because, the Greek gods are assholes, not only to humans, but to each other as well. So there's always this backstabbing going on. Whereas when there's only one god, it's like, he's going to backstab himself. It's not as fun, I figured. But, the show still managed to be pretty cool. They kept Ares, nonetheless, so that was good. And, it still managed to have something interesting out of it.
Yeah, no, they did. And I think one of the things we forget about Christian, again, mythology as opposed to religion, is that, the archangels and the angels, like, they are not nice angels. Like, God tasks them with some pretty brutal things to do. So there's actually room to play to create villains and all of that. And that's what Xena did in its later seasons.
Yeah.
And interestingly as well, I mean, like, Xena's adventure was always one of redemption. She used to be a bad guy. She wants to be a good guy.
Yeah.
Redemption is sort of Christianity's shtick, if you will.
That is true.
So, I mean, it made sense for the character. If you're going to switch around with mythologies and move the character in a different direction, it's like, well, it's not a bad one to do. And honestly, if you're going to get to play with Greek gods, and you're going to get to play with Norse gods and all of that stuff, yeah, why not play with Christian mythology as well? It shouldn't be immune. Like, other people's religion shouldn't be up for fantasy. And then it was like, oh, it's the Western main religion. Can't touch it. Can't touch that. Do. No, like,
Nice, yeah. I have a reference. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's all up for grabs. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And in one of the later seasons as well, the idea of the basic storyline, but she gets frozen. She has a kid, and then she gets frozen, so she gets to interact with her kid.
And she's an adult, obviously.
She's an adult, yeah, because Xena was frozen for 25 years, so now she's an adult, and she's the champion of Rome. She's been bred by Ares to do war, and Xena has to fight.
She's stupid hot.
Oh yeah, just looking at her, I was like, oh my god, that she looked spectacular.
Yeah.
Wow.
They sexed her up like crazy.
That too,
she was meant to be eye candy.
Yeah, with the dark makeup in the eyes to make her look like really badass too.
And the hilarious Wonder Bra thing going on.
Yeah, Wonder Bra breastplate.
Yeah.
She's like, and then it was the story between, Xena and her own daughter, which was, also quite entertaining.
The storyline was really good, like, because here she had an enemy that she couldn't just, kill and call it a day.
Exactly, she doesn't want to kill her, but the daughter, she's been, raised by Ares and, 25 years of doing, what she did. She's like, okay, she's my mother, but I don't give a damn, I'm working for Rome and I'm going to kill her. It's like, it was a fun story.
I agree. I like that story a lot. I honestly wish that the show had ended on that story. Once they redeemed the daughter, then the series ended, but then they went on for a couple of episodes more.
Yeah. With
the daughter now good, and we were like, boring.
Yes, indeed.
I mean, it did give us the wonderful episode where Xena goes into the Evil Dead cabin. That was fantastic.
Yes. Oh, they had crazy episodes too in that one. One episode where it was basically when she gives her power back to because the gods, I think Ares and Aphrodite, war and love have lost their power, so nobody has any more feelings anymore. So she gets golden apples to give them power back, and it's all done style of paparazzi or junk newspaper trying to get an interview and getting dirt on Xena and why she's doing this, and is she doing it because she loves Ares, that's why she's doing it. And it's like a reporter with a mic, in ancient Greek interviewing people. And it's like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, again, no, the show never took itself that seriously. It's cool. No, I liked it a lot more, but you know what? At the end of the day, like, I think it's more than just the character, though the character is really important, and it's certainly not the eye candy factor. I mean, Xena is laughed at a lot because, run, Xena, run,
Yeah.
But I mean, like, she's fully armored plated. Like,
Yeah.
you don't see anything. It's not true that Lucy Lawless played it as like a dumb bimbo or anything.
No,
like
no,
that.
she played it serious. Like, there was no gratuitous shots of, ass and, well, not of her anyway.
No, her daughter. Like, I think her daughter stood out because she was the first character when they went like all out with this crap. Because before that, they were actually really conservative about this.
Exactly. Okay, Gabrielle was losing like more and more clothing every season, but still, nonetheless, she was still,
Yeah, but she's still like she could still fit in a 1950s movie just fine, even by the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the same thing about the daughter. But Lucy Lawless played the character with conviction, and I think that's what attracts me about the show. I mean, like, the special effects are cheesy. Yeah, it's a syndicated show.
Yeah, they're terrible. I mean, you could see, especially when they had centaurs, you could actually see the cutout, but you're like, oh my god, this is terrible green screen. What the hell is this? Oh my god.
The storylines are super goofy.
Yeah.
It borders on the soap opera even at its best. But Lucy Lawless plays every bit of it with such conviction that I was totally mesmerized by it. I was like, I wanted to know what happened next to Xena because Xena felt like a real character to me.
Yeah.
Despite all of the rest that looked like cardboard.
Pretty much.
And I think that's the difference for me with Hercules, where Hercules, Kevin Sorbo he's just one step removed from that. He doesn't have that level of conviction.
Yeah, it's true. I think he's still trying to make it a little campy, and that's why he was like doing the goofy fighting and, not really putting effort as well. It's like, yeah, he knew what kind of show he was in, and so it's like, you're watching, it's like, yeah, I'm watching a show, whereas, it's like, this is like, oh my god, Xena's awesome, and you're not caring about this is a cheap show. You're like, oh, this is cool. This is a great story that's happening.
Yeah, totally. All right, so Hercules, like, would you recommend it?
Yes, I would recommend Legendary Journeys if you're kind of like into that kind of fun episodic thing. Okay, I'm saving the world every week. Yeah, Hercules Legendary is pretty good. Like, if you like Agents of Shields, you will love.
Chances are you will. Like, that's true. Like, they're playing at about the same level.
Pretty much. Like, every episode completely disconnected, just let's just save the world over and over again. That's pretty much what it is, And people might be getting crazy. There's a big bad that's controlling everything. Well, in Hercules too, she was called Hera, and she's controlling everything. So there we go. One thing to link everything, and yeah, it's fun. I would recommend it. If you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, I didn't follow it as much as you did, so I don't feel I can honestly say I recommend it or don't recommend it. I will only say that the few episodes I did watch did not compel me to watch the rest of the series.
Okay.
Which I can't say about Xena. Like, I caught an episode like midway into the series, and then I was like, oh, I have to watch the next one.
Yeah,
I need to know what happens.
Xena is a great recommendation, and you need to watch that. That was a great show.
Yeah.
It gets better and better as the seasons go by as well. So yeah, even if you didn't, like the first season that much, it gets much, much better. The recurring characters that get, crazy powers, it's really, really fun.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Hercules, The Legend Begins, or The Legend of Hercules, depending on where you live.
Yeah, which country the movie was released. One good way to abord this is a conversation we had on the phone where I talk about, video game players that basically accept, that our products is delivered without being completed. We get basically games that are basically in the beta stage that are not completed, and we seem to accept it because, it's video games. And I told you, it's like, in no other movie industry would you accept something that's completely not finished. And you didn't happen to mention that.
Hercules that came out this January is actually an unfinished product. The special effects are not completed. Some of the sound effects were a little bit off. There's some editing issues going on there. Clearly, they had not finished the post-production when they put it in theaters.
That's terrible. I did not think that would ever happen in something else in video game world. But yeah, apparently it's creeping into the movie world. Like, this movie, good enough. We'll fix it for the DVD release, I guess.
Sure, because people are gonna buy that now. You know, people reject movies because the trailers, the special effects are not finished.
Yeah.
Do you think they're gonna buy a movie on DVD when they've seen the movie and the special effects are not finished?
That is true. I mean, John Carter, people just shat on the trailer because, it looked terrible. And, people that know movies were like, well, no, it's the trailer. The special effects are not done. But, the common layman here, they're like, that's stupid. Why would they not finish the special effects? This is what the movie's going to look like. It looks like crap. And that's why it was a terrible flop. So now, I haven't seen the trailer, but now the special effects weren't even finished in the movie itself.
Oh, do not watch this. I mean, I estimate by the time that this airs, which is a few days from now,
it's not going to be in theaters anymore.
Exactly. Like this thing's not lasting in theaters. But if it's still there, like, don't go. Don't go. This is terrible.
If it's the kind of movie, if you like, watching, terrible movies like Birdemic or The Room or stuff like that, wait until it comes to basic cable. It's going to be on Sci-Fi Network very, very soon, and watch it then,
Oh, yeah, and it was like, honestly, bad movies, there's two places where you want to see them. One of them is,
at a convention?
At a convention or at a special screening for fans of bad movies. Like, for example, The Room is playing in Ottawa this March for anybody who's in Canada.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there.
Sweet. I'm going to go there too.
The Tommy Wiseau is going to be there, so.
Oh, I'm there.
Exactly. So that's one venue where you can watch bad movies because everybody's in tune with you heckling it and just having fun with it. You know? Or in your living room is the other place where you can watch it, invite some friends, just enjoy the shittiness of it. Oh, do not go to a movie to enjoy its shittiness when it's still playing in theaters, just out of politeness for the few people who went to see it trying to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because then you're being a dick.
Exactly.
And also you're paying an awful lot of money for something that could entertain you at home on video.
Exactly. And at home, the food is a lot cheaper as well. Grab a couple of beers, a bag of chips, and it's going to be less than the price of one popcorn at the theater.
Yeah, one popcorn kernel.
One popcorn kernel, that's a good point. So, yeah, wait until it comes to sci-fi. They're going to play it, obviously, because, they're desperate for bad movies. So it's going to play on TV. Watch it then and enjoy it. You won't even have to wait that long because this movie is apparently a terrible, terrible mess.
Yeah, no, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, obviously, they're trying to beat Brett Ratner's Hercules.
Yeah.
In terms of when it comes out. But what I suspect is that they knew it was a piece of shit. And then they were probably late in the production. Trying to fix it or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe the filmmakers realized, oh god, this is terrible. We'll fix it in post, and then post took way, way too long because they were too much to fix.
Yeah.
And I think the studios went like, no, we're not paying you for this anymore. Like, it's just like, it's a piece of shit. Release it now. We're done.
Yeah, but then the studios have to pay for a wide release of that movie, even though they know it's terrible.
I really think they just wanted to beat Brett Ratner's Hercules, and that's all they were concerned about. And they were just like, fuck it.
Could they also have been counting on maybe people getting confused and going there seeing, the one with The Rock is out so soon, and they go there and it's like, where's The Rock?
Oh yeah, well that's the point of these wars, right? There's buzz about a Hercules movies. Whoever comes first gets the brunt of that buzz,
Yeah. And the other one might get just, okay, well, I'm not going to see another Hercules again. The first one was terrible. I'm not going to see this one.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that people think that way because, it's not the same studio. It's not the same filmmakers. There's no reason to blame one because of the other. Yeah. But people totally think that way. There's fatigue, It's like, well, I've seen one Hercules movies this year.
Yeah.
I don't need to see two. And now I associate Hercules with bad memories, and I'd rather avoid them.
That is true. That's the association as well. Hercules, you have this kind of thing. So, yeah, I have good memories of Hercules, so I'm, as soon as you told me that, no, this movie's terrible, special effects, okay, not going to see it.
Yeah, you're in bad shape when you have a movie like this that is getting no press screening, obviously.
Yeah.
But like also the sneak preview is like as late as humanly possible, so that the critics can't even attend it without like rushing their article themselves as well.
That's crazy.
Like it was like the night before at I think 8 or 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, think about it. Like, I have to write my review after seeing it, so it's probably 11 or midnight by the time I'm home. And it's midnight. I don't go to sleep. I have to write the fucking review.
Yeah.
And then post it for like 7 in the morning to send it to the editors if I'm writing for another magazine, which I do, or if I'm writing for this site, then I have a little bit more time because I make the schedule.
Still, you want people to get the information before they go see the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to post it as soon as possible.
So that means I'm not sleeping till 3, 4 in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
how do they expect that to get them better reviews? You're just pissed because you have to stay up so late. So you might actually give them even lower reviews than actually they deserve.
But what happens is that most magazines will be like, no, fuck that movie. Like, fuck that movie. We're not going to review it because, like, I'm not having an editor waiting for you at 7 in the fucking morning for you to send your shit. You know
that makes sense. Yeah.
And, or the flip side is if people do insist on writing it, it's going to be a late review. People will already have seen the movie. Or it's going to be a review that's going to be short and bottles like, this was a piece of shit, goodbye. You know what I mean? Like,
all right.
Which people will read and go like, well, I'm going to give this a try anyway, because he hasn't said why it's bad. Like, you know?
Good point.
Yeah, no, they did this for another movie that came out in February. That was a couple of years back, Pink Panther 2.
Oh my god, I can't believe they made a second one.
Yeah, with Steve Martin. This is like one of the worst pieces of shit I have ever seen.
Yeah.
I kid you not, like... And it was just so funny because, like, this was one of those movies where I saw and I had to review really quickly, and the lady next to me kept talking, so I barely heard the movie, and I was a little bit frustrated. Yeah. Also, she turned out to be a bigot because she was talking about her Asian daughter-in-law, and she did not have nice things to say about her daughter-in-law or her daughter-in-law's race.
Wow.
So I was like really having a terrible experience. So I wrote this thing as quickly as possible, and like the magazine I was writing for at the time was like, we were grading on 100. So
yeah. And
I went like 22%. I don't know. There's like some of the actors were good. Here they get 2% each. There's 10 actors that were kind of decent. Go.
Yeah.
You know, as my rating, and the editor changed it to 2% by mistake because it was 7 in the morning. They were like, "Why am I here? You know, for this bullshit."
Yeah.
And I was like, and I was gonna like, "Hey, I wrote 22, not 2. That." Same thing. Like, I didn't write them back. I was like, yeah, whatever.
Good enough.
So, if you have any questions, comments, you want to talk about the legendary journeys of Hercules, or Xena, really.
Or the movie you just saw, Hercules, in the theaters, Legend of Hercules.
Or Hercules, The Legend Begins.
Yeah, something like that.
Whatever the hell this movie's called.
The Legend Begins, so they're thinking of making a series out of this. That's scary.
Yeah, what were you thinking with that? It's true, eh? The legend begins and ends now. It was a short legend.
Anyways.
You can write us at mail@idiomatic.com or post a comment at idiomatic.com. We're also on Facebook, we're also on Twitter, we're also on iTunes. If you could write us an iTunes review, this would be super helpful to help us get the support to generate regular content for you. Otherwise, I will have no choice but to release Nick to the public, even though I'm not done with him.
Oh my god, I'm scared now.